Woohoo! I can never get enough of that new intro, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everybody,
So
and welcome
good.
to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 276, Subform, Peter, Subform, for Friday, November 10th, 2023. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
And I was kind of reading, I got this new Elgato. I don't really need a teleprompter for what we just did since I've done it 276 times, but I got this really cool new Elgato teleprompter I'm looking right into right now. Fits over any camera that you can get. It's got 1,000 different settings for it. This thing is so cool, man. I got to say. It's so
pretty slick.
Yeah, it's worth a few hundred, I think it's only like $250, $300 or something. But, it's a full monitor flipping up. It actually displays as a separate monitor. You can do that. I don't know what the purpose of that would be. But it's, kind of doing it's doing a reverse mirror, putting it up normal. So you can use it as an extra screen, which is kind of crazy, but useful, if you're just doing that. But we probably should have put that in as like our product of the week and done something on it. But if you have, just go over to Elgato and check out that prompter if anybody's interested in really cool teleprompters. But I think it's going to come in handy like when we're doing tips of the week or things like that. Or, I don't know. I loaded in Lincoln's Gettysburg Address earlier, and I was just reading that, like you could, hey, look what I memorized anyway. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's crazy.
No, why not?
On and on. So a little side tangent there for the 40% of you that love my side tangents. Okay, there you go. The other 60% of you, sorry. Anyway, Tyler, we've got news. So I guess we should get straight on into the news, shall we? But first, what do we got? We got announcements and events first? See, maybe I do need a teleprompter after all this time. So, hey, if you don't know, we've got Club Zenatta, and over at Club Zenatta is where we keep track of all of the events, and it's also our online community. So we've got a whole general discussion area. You can ask us questions for our weekly or our bi-weekly show where we answer your questions. That's Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho or Azaz. But it's a whole community, well over 1,000 people now, all just kind of helping each other out, and our team comes in and answers questions. So if you don't, head over to club.zenatta.com and join. All we ask for is your email so we can actually verify it's a real human being who's participating in these discussions. Other than that, it's free. And again, like we're talking about, we keep track of events. So we've got our events. We got, today's CRM Zen Show. Coming up in the month of November, we've got CRM Zen, we've got Azaz, and Tyler and I are going to be doing the full Zoho Mail full product tutorial. That is going to be on November 21st, so you will want to check that out as well. We also keep track of all these Zoho events. So if you, if you want to know what's going on with Zoho, they are rolling out, Zoholics still. The worldwide Zoholics are rolling. So coming up here in about 7 days, you've got Zoholics Nigeria, which is coming up, and Zoholics Saudi Arabia on the 21st. But big things happening there, as well as all of the other events. We also keep track, if there's anybody else out there doing an event, well, gosh darn it, we will post it, but nobody's ever given us their events. So if you're listening to us and you put on a Zoho event, anything having to do with Zoho, well, please, just drop us a line and we'd be happy to promote your event. By the way, I don't think I've clicked on this before. What a cool little Zenatta calendar icon. If you're watching us on YouTube, we've got going on over here. I want that Zenatta calendar. I need to get that now. It's pretty cool. All right. With that, Tyler, now let's really head on over to the news. Alrighty then. So we will start off with a little PSA. If you had been using Click recently and you went ahead and downloaded the latest version of the app for iOS and someone called you and you realized you couldn't hear them or they couldn't hear you, well, that's because there was a little bug. So they have fixed the issue. So an update has been sent to the App Store. It will be available soon, and you can do that. I tell you what, this brings up something else. I don't know if you saw this, Tyler, but my Click just completely quit updating on my phone. So, I rebooted the phone. I ended up having to, it was just stuck on messages from a week ago, and it would just be spinning. And I ended up having to delete the Click app, re-download the Click app, re-log in, and then everything's been perfect ever since. So I don't know if that was part of the same bug, but if you're having that problem, another PSA related to Click, that's what I had to do to fix it.
I've been getting like random crashes. Like it crashes out on me in the middle of like a audio call or video call. Or randomly just reboots throughout the
on
course
your
of
phone.
the day. No, on my desktop. So
on
maybe unrelated to this, but yeah, just random crashes here and there since 5.0 came out. It's not pervasive. It's maybe like once a week. It'll just, die.
But you like dedicated apps, right? So you're using the Click app, the dedicated Click app?
Yeah, the local app on my Mac, yeah.
I never use that. I only use the browser, which is interesting. So I forgot about that. Do you still use that Gmail app? What was it called?
No, it was Kiwi. Was it called Kiwi?
Kiwi. Yeah.
So I get it local. Yeah, no, I gave up on that. It was always like one round of updates behind Google. So you would always be like missing a new feature, basically. So I ended up killing it.
Very good. All right, well, there's our PSA and a couple rabbit holes for you. And moving on, let's with the news here, we have got in CRM, you can automate your unavailability in CRM Calendar. We don't talk about this very often, but Zoho's got Zoho Calendar, which is its own thing. And then there's a calendar in CRM by itself. And so now you can basically set when you're not available in that calendar. So it's going to sync with Google, it's going to sync with Microsoft, and you can go ahead and manage those availabilities. You can also do Zoho Recruit now.
So it looks like Zoho Calendar and Zoho Recruit are the newly added options here. So interesting, Google, Microsoft got done first, but now you'll be able to do the same thing. And really, this only matters if you're using the CRM bookings, right? Or if you have someone regularly like scheduling onto your calendar, right? So like notify them. It doesn't hurt to have this, especially for users. Maybe you have multiple hats. So sometimes they're doing things in Recruit, sometimes in CRM. Now your calendar availability will kind of join those two together.
It's funny, we talk about Zoho bookings and all they did there, but CRM bookings came way before it. And it's great if it's just you. I mean, if you just want to have a calendar link, it's limited, and then you can set up a couple. You can have a half-hour meeting, an hour meeting, whatever, and you've got the link, and you can send that specific link, and it does look at your calendar and allows people to book. Very, very limited. They haven't done anything on it in like 10 years, I don't think. But it would be one of those things where you could make some small updates to that. Especially if everybody's using Zoho, right? In the organization, it's kind of all looking natively there. Because the CRM calendar is interesting. If you want to look at everybody's calendar and see what's going on, it's as long as everybody's connected to it, it does fairly well. So anyway, nice little update there. And moving right along, also over in CRM, condition-based aggregate fields in Subforms. The title of our show here, basically Subform, Peter Subform. If you haven't, go watch Hook, 1991, fantastic movie. I highly recommend it, and you will get that reference. But what do we got here, Tyler?
Yeah, so aggregate formulas in a subform are kind of like totals, right? So imagine you had a subform that had a set of items on it at various prices and quantities. You could have an aggregate field that would essentially give you the total of all of those items. Now what they're letting us do is apply conditions to that aggregate formula. So in that example, right, if I had maybe products and services that were in the subform, I could make a product total, a service total, and then a like quote total, for example, that would give you all of them. Here they're saying on item type or item category, so like a camera total versus a printer total. Right. So just giving you a little bit more control in how these are going to show up in subforms. This is pretty useful. There's not like the shiniest, flashiest thing that they're rolling out, but it is really nice because subforms provide a really slick UI for adding oftentimes what we do is put one on a deal, right, to add certain products and services. So being able to just dynamically sum those up is going to be really nice to have.
Well, a big use case for this, especially in people that are in professional services that go to do this, is they may have a one-time charge and then they'll have a recurring charge. And now you can clearly define those on here, right? Hey, here's our one-time.
Yeah.
I think that'll be big. So good job, team. And moving on with the news, Zoho Books. So we got the bunch of finance updates dropped for the month of November. We're going to start. We've got books, expense, and subscriptions, which is now called billing. So we're going to start with Zoho Books. You now can have, they call them PDF templates. I don't know what. Anyway, you can have templates inside of a custom module. So if you're in Zoho Books, you built out a custom module. You never could have a specific template for that you could automatically generate. So standard use case for that is you have an invoice template, and you could customize your various invoice templates you would have, but that's in the invoice module. So now you create a custom module, and you can build out a custom template for that, which is super nice.
Yeah, how robust these are. And, I know a use case that we found for these custom modules is for creating bills of materials. Essentially, you can have like the bill of materials and the linking table of all the items that go to the bill of materials. So like 2 custom modules. So it'd be interesting to see with these if they'll allow you, like in a CRM template, right? I can add a table that is a related list or a subform. It'd be interesting to see how dynamic these are. We could create like a bill of materials PDF, right? That could be generated at any time. That would be pretty darn useful. But it would have to show the related items, right? So you'd have to be able to run it at the bill level and get like the bill items level. So yeah, interesting to play with. Doesn't hurt for sure. And then you will have to build these from scratch, I would assume, right? Because they're not on like a default module. So going to come out of the
very
box.
nice that it gives you that ability to just kind of build them up from scratch and kind of go through all of it. I mean, I like that a lot. Another thing, we mention this, I think every time we talk about this, we do mention it, or I try to mention it anyway, if I remember. You can petition Zoho to turn on HTML templates, which allow you to basically just drop in custom HTML and design these things any way you want. So let's say in invoices, you're like, I really don't like any of these invoice templates you have, and I really don't like how limited I am on how I can modify them. You can say, please, Zoho, turn on HTML, and they will. It's one of the things you get when people are on CRM and they've been using it. They hadn't used books, but they decided to use invoices in CRM, and the invoices in the CRM are 100% HTML. You can do whatever you want with them. You move over to books and you're stuck. But I don't know if they'll turn that on for these custom ones, but nice job there. And guess what? You can now integrate Zoho Books with Notebook. I have no idea why, but you got a note, you want to attach it, you got it. It's pretty cool. So
why not?
More Notebook integration. Here we go. And Tyler, I don't know if you ever run into this being an issue, but you can now download customer statements with more than 2,500 transactions. Is that?
I think do we ever run into that? I don't think so, but someone asked for it. That's why this is added, right? This is one of those updates we joke about it sometimes, that like a big customer asks for it, so they build it. Now might as well make it available for everybody. So now you can basically download that customer statement. That essentially just shows the full history of transactions with that customer. You can filter them by certain date periods and send them out. So yeah, why not? I mean, as limits go up, that's always going to be for the benefit of the customer. Even if you don't need this, maybe one day you will. And now it will already be here for you.
Very, very cool. Nice. And moving right along, you can prevent duplicate values in a custom field. I would have assumed that when they did it, that was there, but that's a necessary thing oftentimes as well. So you can basically set unique, I would imagine, right? Like you can in CRM.
I think for integrations, right? Like you have a WooCommerce order come in, you put the WooCommerce ID there, right? And you ensure that it's going to be unique. So yeah, that's really nice to have just from a data management perspective.
Yeah. And if you're over in India, you've got brand new options when filing your GST, especially your GSTR3B and your GSTR2. This is a problem I do every day. I lose sleep over these things, how to properly file my GSTs, but it's been handled for you. So, hey, and also our global and Mexico editions. You can now create tax groups of TDS rates. Do we know what TDS stands for?
No idea. I know TPS. TPS report that needs to be submitted, but not familiar with TDS rates.
All right. Well, if you are, there you go. That's kind of new. So that's your Zoho Books updates for November 2023. And moving right along, Zoho Expense. Always make you proud. We don't talk about this a lot, but it's good to see some changes here. So they got a new edition for Germany. So a specific regional edition for Germany. So guten Tag. And you've got VAT stuff over there. And now they've got self-booking through Get There. I'm not sure what Get There is. I'm assuming it is a ticket booking system. Oh, look at that. It's an online ticket booking system. Yep. So you now got integration there. So if you're booking your tickets, it's going to go integrate directly into Zoho Expense. And you've got report automation for corporate card expenses, which is also exceptionally cool. You can update on your delegate configurations. So people that are allowed to book things for you and do things for you in expense. Some webhooks have been revamped. And it looks like there's a lot more. You can now set up tax-inclusive expense limits when setting up Zoho your expenses. That is exciting. You can force delete a custom module. I'm not sure what that means. That's a pretty powerful thing. Earlier, if you had records,
and some of the finance applications, they're tighter about when things can be deleted, right? Because they're relevant for your accounting, or you can't delete an item out of books if it has an invoice associated, right? So it's a little annoying, but it kind of makes sense. In this case, it looks like Zoho relented and said, you know what, if it's a custom module, we haven't built it into the accounting, so maybe it's all right for you to just delete it if you decide that you don't need it.
The original accounting software, when it was released, I remember, you couldn't delete invoices, right? Everything had to be accounted for. You couldn't just delete an invoice. You had to, there was all kinds of things you had to do around it for accounting purposes. So very cool. I'd like that. I'd like to see that in a lot of things. There are a lot of things I'd like to be able to force deletes and just say, hey, just go push everything over here, right? Help desk for custom fields. So text, you can now put a little tooltip in there that's going to let you know what that custom field's all about. And you could have per diem preferences for expense types. So how much do you get per day? How much for a meal? What do they give you for a meal?
All these updates are because Zoho's been running Zoholics recently. They built a lot of this stuff for their expense management. Like the ticket booking integration, that's really slick. Like the fact that they integrated that, so you go to this app, you book a ticket, and it just goes to expense natively. That feels like something that they might have wanted, because they fly people all over the world as they're doing these Zoholic series. So I wonder if some of these were for internal use as well. That got bumped up.
You were right, because we've got a Canadian update here. Anyway, some iOS updates, and they are running these Zoholics all over the world now. I mean, they seem to be every week. They're just popping up in a different country. So anyway, nice job, expense team. But we're not done with Finance Suite updates. We also have got what's new in Zoho Billing. So Zoho Billing is the new name for Zoho Subscription, X, formerly known as Twitter. Billing, formerly known as subscriptions. You can add payment methods from the customer portal. I love this.
I thought you could do that.
No.
I would have sworn. Okay.
Yeah, no. This was a big one. So you've got a person, they've got a subscription with you. There is a portal under Zoho Subscriptions. Billings. And you can now log into that portal, and you actually can you can add some payment methods, which is just
nice. Because it'll send, you can actually have it send customers reminders if their credit card on file is about to expire. So then now with this, they could actually log in and update that just via the portal. So yeah, that's real nice.
I haven't played with this yet, but looking at the screenshot, what would be super nice about this is I could add a payment method and add another payment method and make this primary and make this backup. A lot of things like that, right? That would be super, super slick. Anyway, and they've got some revamped net revenue reports. They've been working a lot on the reports over in Billings lately, which is kind of nice. They've got decent reports, but some of these changes that they're making to how you're looking at your subscriptions and how you can kind of slice and dice what your subscription revenue is fairly nice. And this is just another one of those enhancements.
It'd be interesting, subscriptions team, if you're listening on the reporting side, where a lot of value could be added for Billings is to create more reports about forecasted future revenue. A lot of this stuff, and this from the perspective of a Zoho nerd, like anything about the subscription history is very easy to build reports on inside of analytics. Where things get really tricky for customers is they want to go, okay, based on our current subscriptions with, a 10% growth rate and a 3% churn rate, what are we going to look like in 6 months? And that in analytics is tricky because you don't have any records, for the future. So it'd be interesting to see how much of that they could build in here over time. I'm happy to see them working on the reporting tools because it is just one of those specific requests that subscription-based companies need, and that is just particularly difficult to solve with Zoho Analytics. So yeah, Zoho, if you're listening, great job on this. Keep going. Yeah. Let's do some future, forecasting here as well.
Yeah, and you could make payments mandatory for subscription updates. I'm trying to understand this. Give more control of subscription updates in the customer portal by making payments mandatory. Once enabled, your customers make changes to their subscription, such as upgrading plans or purchasing add-ons that require an additional payment. They would have to pay first. That's also very cool.
Does that mean that up till now, if they made a change in the portal, they would not be asked to pay right away?
It would. I think it would all roll over to the next billing cycle.
Put it on the next bill.
Yeah. So that is. It was usually end of have.
Yeah, that's a need to have, because I know that a big thing they're working on with billings, and they've kind of announced some news. So this isn't like hush hush secret. Is like more integration with like products from inventory. So like if you did an add-on on one day after your subscription renewed and you didn't have to pay for 30 days, we ship you the product, you cancel your subscription, right? So the minute you get into physical products, this rule starts making a lot of sense, because you don't want people to be able to use that workaround and get free stuff.
Yep, and you can prevent duplicate values for custom fields now. So this is a we just saw this earlier, and you've got Zoho Notebook integration. That's always a great thing. And you've got multi-page hosted payment pages. So you now can have a multi-page template for hosted payment pages with OTP. So basically, if you're not familiar with it, you can create your payment pages. They do a very, very nice job. They give you a bunch of different templates for your subscriptions, allowing people to switch between, do you want to pay monthly? Do you want to pay quarterly? Do you want to pay annually? And now you can have multiple pages, which is which I love.
I wonder where they're gonna go with this, because one thing that subscriptions or billing doesn't do well, and they kind of make it look like they do in some of the marketing material, but it doesn't do it, is the ability to say, I'm on a page, I'm going to sign up for this subscription, and we want to have the subscription show them available add-ons that they can just check off and add it, right? That does not work in subscriptions. You have to build that whole flow on the website and then redirect it to like parameterized checkout pages. So hopefully making this multi-step might allow them to say, hey, do you want these add-ons? Hey, do you want this upgrade? Things like that for some suggestive selling.
Well, this would be one where I would love to have this display go further. I believe you're watching us on YouTube, it's kind of like, I want to proceed and I want to see what options it's giving here. We're going to definitely have to play with that. Well,
but yeah, the ability, if they're working towards showing those add-ons and letting people just pick them, that'll be a huge feature update for subscriptions. That'll make it a lot easier for people to use. Hopefully that's kind of where they're going here.
Kind of showing add-ons.
I'm seeing them, I'm seeing them start to come in, right? Which is giving me a lot of hope. So yeah, it looks like that's what they're doing here.
Yes, and it's giving you the whole total.
Beautiful.
I think you have had your wish granted.
That is going to make a lot of people very happy.
Very, very nice.
I'll tell you, the old way to do that was not easy. It was not easy. It had to be basically a script that would create the URL on the fly with a bunch of parameters to add the add-ons. So that's a huge improvement to be able to do it that way.
All right, and then a marketplace extension, you've got a click extension. How nice is that? So that's just going to tell you, oh, wow, you can drop reportings in there. My guess is you probably can drop purchases in there, maybe not, but it looks like reports. Yep.
Summer, so you can
basically drop some MMR reports and growth rate reports month over month. as well. And they have developed a new extension was developed by TELR. TELR Tuller is a payment gateway provider. And so they have a brand new extension that is available. I'm guess not even in the marketplace, just directly available, huh?
Native integration.
Native. Very, very nice. Zoho Connect. You can now, there's an extension for Zoho Connect where you can connect billing to Connect. We don't talk about Connect much. That's Zoho's intranet, can also be an extranet. Very cool product. And so now if you're using that, you can connect this internally as well. And that is, wow, whole bunch of updates for Zoho billing. I would say you might want to take a look at this one. There's some major stuff in here. I would say,
yeah, this might be upgraded to major, because it seems like they're kind of sneaking that update in, that those add-ons are available on the checkout page. It doesn't like say it, but that image looks like that's exactly what they did. So yeah, this one might need to get upgraded to major on our list.
Take note on the doc here, Freddie. We actually, just if you're wondering what we're talking about, is as we go through the year, Tyler and I read all of the news stories and we determine if they're notable or major, which helps us when we do our year in review, which is only 5-6 weeks away, because we don't have to read through every 52 sets of show notes and determine what we think was major.
Yeah, we regretted that last year when we realized that we were not taking notes during the year. So we decided to be a little more efficient this time around.
Took us 3-4 years to figure it out, but there we are.
Oh, you get
all right, and moving on with the news. You can now unlock Zoho Vault with one-auth, Windows Hello, Touch ID, YubiKey, and many more. So if you are not familiar, Zoho Vault is Zoho's password protection utility or password utility. Excellent product. Love it. But every time you open it, you actually had to type your master password in order to get into Vault. But now if you are using any of these things, you want to have a one-off, you can do that. I mean, Touch ID is great. I use Touch ID for everything. It's fantastic, and if you're a Mac user, like I've got Mac, I've got it docked, but Apple actually sells keyboards, external keyboards with Touch ID on them, which makes your life really, really easy. So if you're using that, it's just great. But Passkey, YubiKey, any of these, it's perfect. I mean, it's even Zoho one-auth, which I think is just fantastic. So you don't have to type your password in every single time. You can use any of the authenticators. So pretty major there as well. And that is going to wrap up the news, Tyler. So let's head on over to our implementation of the week.
Let's do it. Alrighty, so this is a build out that we did here for a staffing agency looking at CRM and Recruit primarily, essentially integrating CRM and Recruit to launch multiple job openings from one deal. So this was built out by Landon, Jason, and Colton primarily on our team. I think Alex may have chipped in a little client script here and there, as he tends to do whenever client script is needed. So essentially our goal here was to provide our client the ability to, sell one of their clients staffing services for one or multiple jobs at a time, right? So they might need a chef and a waiter, right? And so those are two different job openings, but they need 3 chefs and 5 waiters. So essentially what we did first is build out a subform on the CRM deal to track which positions we're going to be hiring for, as well as the number of hires required for each role. There's a little bit of special sauce in the background happening here that we're not going to get into in detail on this walkthrough, where different roles and pay rates are stored for each account or for each client for like positions that we might hire multiple times throughout the course of a year or two. But so then now that we have this subform of the job openings, the pay rate, and the number of people we need for each of those jobs, that subform data can be used to write to a custom module in the CRM related to that account and deal once the deal gets won. Now, the reason we use a custom module for tracking like the long-term hires rather than the subform is it's a lot more robust of like a data element to have it in its own table. So the subform is kind of the intake. It writes to a module, and then the future workflow and updates are going to go to that module to track it over time. Additionally, as that custom module is being created, we actually create a job opening in Recruit for each row in the subform. So if we need 3 servers or 3 waiters, we make one job opening for 3 of them so that when we post it to job boards, right, we can capture all the applicants through one single flow. Those job openings are also kind of linked back to that custom module in CRM so that as candidates are hired and the job opening eventually gets closed, we can then write back to the CRM with all that relevant information to that hires module in CRM. So they're able to manage that on a long-term basis and pull any reports that we need just natively with CRM data. So yeah, big shout out to the team. This is a company we've been working with for a bit. They've got like a variety of different kind of shiny workflows here for staffing and recruiting companies that we're excited to highlight.
Very, very, very nice. Good job, team. Seems like there are some other uses for this down the road as well.
Yeah,
as there
lots of
always
uses.
are. There always are. All right. And with that, then, let's head on over back to Club Z and look at our code share of the week. It's a Colton double header. Colton was part of our implementation, and Colton has written our code share of the week. Zoho projects and Zoho sprints integration via API. So Zoho sprints is a project tool that Zoho has, and Zoho projects is a project tool. And I'm guessing, Tyler, that there's no API between the two of them, or there's no native integration between the two of them. So
there is, but it's just very undocumented.
Okay.
We're finding that more and more. Greg went on a bit of a diatribe on one of our last team meetings on this topic, but we're finding with the projects and sprints APIs, there are a lot of parameters that exist but are completely undocumented everywhere. In this case, I think this was where there was no API to actually add the template to sprints, because when you make a template in projects, you can essentially carve out a milestone and make it a sprint template in your projects template. Sounds very confusing. But then when you actually launch that project via API, we're having issues getting the sprint to also launch via the template. So we had to get Zoho to build a new API to essentially launch that sprint template as a sub template of the project. So it gets very technical and nitty gritty here. But this is just kind of a quick walkthrough of what you're going to need to do if you need to recreate that. So for some projects, you may just have a milestone or two that makes sense as a sprint, whereas the whole thing doesn't make sense as a sprint.
Got it.
So this is just how you would go about automatically launching that master template that contains both sides of the workflow.
So does Zoho actually work with us on this?
Yeah, they did. And they've done this actually a couple times with some of these more complicated projects, API problems or challenges that we're working on, where either there's a hidden parameter that just doesn't show up anywhere that they give us, and then everything works perfectly. Or in this case, I think they had to open up an endpoint for external use that we ended up using here for this one.
Well done, team. Excellent. All right. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta.com and see what's happening over there. What to do if your email is blacklisted. I know where this came from. We had a client recently who shall remain unnamed that had a massive, massive mailing list of tens of thousands and basically hadn't emailed to it in a while and decided that they would, after several years, just blast that thing out. And I think they had a 35-40% bounce rate, which, you know what that does, Tyler? That gets you blacklisted.
On the blacklist, yep.
Get you blacklisted. So, when that happens, well, yes, you can, if it's legit, an honest mistake, you usually can get it removed. And this is going to kind of take you through that entire process as to, number one, why did you get blacklisted? And then, what happened there and who's blacklisting you and how you can find out. And then the journey to unblacklist yourself. And then the nice part about this is how to prevent getting blacklisted. We talk about maintain clean email lists. I don't know if they're putting it in here or not, but there are one of our favorite ones with ClearOut.io.
Yeah, I see the link in there. We use ClearOut a lot.
Yeah. I mean, they are absolutely just amazing apps. You basically upload your entire email list. They run it through their checkers and they come back and they say, These are solid. These are iffy because, an iffy email can be something like info at, help at, support at, right? Email, you don't like to see that because nobody will really usually subscribe using those we do have those people that subscribe using those, but they're not preferred in the world of email marketing. So, they're basically going to kind of take you through and clean up that list for you and give you some best practices around it. I will say, we've talked about this before, but I think you lose just on a absolutely perfect list. You can be pretty sure you're going to lose 1 to 3% a month. So, it doesn't take long for that really to add up,
And you want to keep your general bounce rate under like 5%, right? So that's why, 5% even is high. Like really, it's like 3 on each individual send. So that's why if you're expecting, call it 3% per month, well, you better email at least twice a month, right? To get those bounces out more gradually and progressively. So it's tricky. Another thing we'll also mention is services like ClearOut have really easy to use APIs. So if this is like a big concern for you, we have set it up for people in the past where every time a lead is created, boom, it just hits ClearOut and double checks that email status and brings it back before they get any email communications from you. So especially if you're on the blacklist now and you're working to get off, maybe consider setting up something to just never end up there again. Right, like a quick integration, and that's like a 1 hour. It's a quick script to do what I'm talking about there with the ClearOut.
There you go. And if you don't know, over at Zenatta.com is also where we keep our resource library. So if you go over and you click on resources, you're going to get our entire resource library. This is where we rate all of the Zoho apps. So yes, maybe, not quite yet. Give you detail. You can click through on any of these applications and all our tutorials, all our videos, everything will be there. We've completely revamped our rating systems. Kudos to the entire marketing team there. Great job. We're now giving you our review from, design, utility, features and capabilities, mobility, mobile accessibility, integrations, customization, our pros, our cons, all of these have been updated. Everything lives in here. So if you haven't, check out our resource library. Great place for you to learn about a Zoho application as well. And we also, sometimes people ask us, I can't make sense of all of these Zoho bundles. What bundle's right for me? Well, head over to resources, click on bundles, and we break them all down for you. Make it easy for you to figure out what Zoho products, what Zoho bundles are right for you. And thank you for your support over there. And with that, let's head over to YouTube and look at our tip of the week. Landon is at it here with how to add adding fields to multiple modules in Zoho CRM. So basically, it's a very simple tip, but you get this all the time where, I want to add this field and I want it to go and I want it to this same exact field. I want it in multiple modules and I want them linked together. And you've got all of those kind of things. And it seems simple and it is not all that difficult, but sometimes hard to find. And, the problem you have on this is if you don't do it upon creation of that field at the very beginning, you got problems. But it's very, very cool. So looks like they made some changes. Made some changes to the interface since I was a kid, Tyler. I'm noticing.
Yeah, they updated a lot in terms of the CRM reports, kind of how you create them. Looks like Landon here is kind of showing you how to audit, right? If fields are missing and everything there. But yeah, good habit, like you're mentioning, to do this right the first time, have all the conversion mapping set up, measure twice, cut once, right? And then everything is just configured out of the box for you.
Fantastic. And if you don't know, head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, and that is where we keep all of our videos. We would love it if you would subscribe, ring the bell, all kinds of stuff. And, we got this one Zoho app that will change your business video here, kind of a question, little clickbait. I want you to go in, I want you to click on that and find out what that one app is that's going to change your business, because you're never going to know. But I'm going to tell you, if you're listening to the show, it's Zoho Desk, and we launch our brand new Zoho Desk team training Are we still in early access on that, Tyler?
Yep, early access just started as of yesterday, so pretty steep discounting going on there over for the desk training course.
You've got the pre-order, but it's not pre-order, it's live, right? You can get it now?
Yep, exactly.
Order this now. It is good to go. It is at a what are we giving this away for right now? Not $1,500, not $549. That is a $951 discount. Train your entire team on Zoho Desk. So check that out. And if you're not certain, well, watch that cool little video, man. And you can, and basically it's 9 minutes on why Zoho Desk will change your business. So pretty much worth taking a look at that. Well, Tyler, it's going to do it.
That's going to do it for this week. Yeah,
another
busy
show.
week.
Yeah. Well, very busy week. Before we move on, Freddie, let's just try something here live in real time. I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna do something. We're just gonna no. I'm playing.
I got heart rate is increasing right now.
Got the new teleprompter, so I'm gonna see if I go over here how I can do this. If this is gonna work. Okay, I got that there. How's this gonna Baba Canoodle here? Got that. Okay, now Freddie, share. How does the screen share look now? Like if you were to go back to the screen share.
Okay, I'm going to go back to that tip scene and see what happens.
Go back to the tip. You know what? That looks pretty good, huh?
Is that on your teleprompter?
It's on my teleprompter. So I've got the whole thing up here. It's not quite fitting, Freddie. You probably have to play with that a little bit, but I think I got a whole new thing. I think I can lower this down. We probably can just kind of shrink that up a little bit, maybe. I don't know. And I'm shrinking up the wrong thing. Clicking up here. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, there's a lot that can be done. Oh, I think this is going to change everything. So this is actually on the teleprompter, Freddie.
Wow, that's impressive.
I think and it's really cool.
Elgato. I mean, they got some solid products, I tell you.
They do. I mean, this prompter thing here is, if you go to this thing, I mean, this is all they're talking about on their website right now. I think if you go to Elgato, they are just raving about this big prompter thing that they're selling here.
I mean, the thing about prompters is that they usually run in the thousands, and the fact that this is under $500 is pretty amazing.
It should be paying us.
It's $279 for this prompter. And it is beautiful. I'm looking at this thing right now. I need to drop it down. I literally set this up just before the show. But I can drop this down probably a good 6 to 8 inches. Now, because the camera, everything got moved up. It's sitting on top of that giant rig. So the camera is actually sitting up behind here. It's got so many types of adapters, depending on the type of camera, depending on what you're using. You can do anything with it. But at $279, this thing's amazing, man. Tyler's looking at it now. You order one, Tyler? Is it in the shopping cart?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, does this render my eye contact AI pick of the week last week useless now? I mean,
I think if I drop this, if I start using this teleprompter, I don't know if can you resize that so it actually fits. You think? Because if you could,
I can't on my end real quick here. I can't do that.
But you can. But off the show.
But I could.
We could.
Yeah.
We will. That'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting because if that is the thing and you're looking at it. It kind of is. It's a game changer for doing things like this, right? And by the way, this is the software you use for this. This is Elgato too, right? Or is it Ecamm? Is Ecamm by Elgato?
Ecamm is not by Elgato. No,
it's not by Elgato. Okay,
no.
Huh? Very cool. Anyway, all right, back to the two of us here. Well, Tyler, that's pretty cool.
Pretty slick. Yeah, it is pretty slick.
No.
It's cool that you can just throw your whole screen onto it. It'd be nice for like recording videos when you're doing a screen share, things like that. Because I'm always, when I'm doing a video, I'm like, here, there, right? Like as I'm walking through. So pretty slick.
I'm always looking like I'm going over here, but if it's actually in my line of sight and I'm doing the scroll while we're doing the show, and like I said, I could probably drop this down a good 6 to 8 inches right now because I'm probably looking up right now. Looks like because it's way the hell up there. But yeah, excellent. Well, hey everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of the CRM Zen Show. We're here to help on anything regarding Zoho. If you'd like to talk to us, just head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting, and we would be happy to give you a free consult and see if we can help you with your Zoho implementation.
And on the website is where you'll also find complete episodes of the show with links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate it when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.